of President Trump's supporters here.
Greatest movement in the history of our country.
I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And I will never, ever stop. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
I think the hardest part of giving conservative ideas a chance is because I didn't want to be that weird conservative black person. My name is Nisi Torvin. I am from a lot of places, but currently I live in Eagle River, Alaska, which is about 7 miles outside of Anchorage, the big city. When I was in middle school, I moved from Seattle, Washington, down to Greenville, South Carolina. It was hard because I spoke it in a different way. I had a neutral accent. I didn't do a lot of stuff that the other black kids did. I was a swimmer in high school. I was a rower in college. I played cello. A lot of these activities are something that you don't consider. It's like, oh, do you think a white person would do that, or do you think a black person would do that? I think we have an inherent bias. I mean, how does me being a swimmer make me any less black? I have people come up to me and they're like, wow, you speak so well. And I'm like, how else am I supposed to speak English? I don't understand. And it's like, when did these traits become synonymous with being black? That was something that I thought I could not escape in middle school. It took me a while to realize, like, what is being black, you know, and what is my skin color? I didn't understand what it had to do with my activities or my politics. I remember Joe Biden was being interviewed by Charlemagne the God, and he said, if you ain't voting for me, you ain't black, or something like that. That is, yeah, that was really offensive to me. You know, one, because black people are not a monolith. And so for him to say that a black person has to be this or has to be that, I mean, who are you? I mean, a white person telling us that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Whatever the mainstream media is telling you, that if you're LGBT, you have to be liberal. If you're black or person of color, you have to be a liberal. And I'm like, who says that? It's just ridiculous. But it took me a while to realize those things. When I went to college, it was definitely the culture of the campus that was just liberal, like liberal to the core. So it was definitely the way to think. The person who I was in college would listen to what everybody said on the media, would take it for absolute truth, wouldn't investigate anything, was so careful not to hurt anybody's feelings to the point where I would compromise what I had in myself. I thought that the Democrats were the ones who were trying to, you know, take care of the black people, and I thought the Republicans were the ones who were racist. In 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton for President of the United States. And so when the night ended with Donald Trump as president, I didn't really, it was something that never crossed my mind. I remember the following day, it was raining outside. So it was raining and I had to walk to class. And so I decided I'm just gonna wear all black. You know, I was gonna wear all black everything because I was in mourning. And the rain was a symbol of Donald Trump. But the last 4 years, I realized that I had been kind of fooled. It was all of these lies that were fed to me constantly through mainstream media. Yeah, eventually I started chipping away at that liberal mentality that I had. In order to have an unbiased opinion, I had to research the stuff for myself. And a lot of people don't have time to do that. I definitely see the benefits that President Donald Trump has done for the Black community. The problem is that the media doesn't say anything about it. So if you don't sit there and if you don't research it, you won't know. You know, they don't talk about the lowest Black unemployment in history. They don't talk about HBCUs being funded by him because he wants them to be able to thrive. The walkaway movement definitely helped me to see different people that are all sharing the same conservative ideas, but all have completely different backgrounds and different race and ethnicity and everything. And, you know, you don't see those people on the news. And so I finally got the courage to post my story on my social media, and the amount of just positive feedback helped me realize that, hey, it's okay to be whatever you are and conservative.
The big challenge that COVID brought that we just didn't see coming was that just almost everything kind of just shut down.
Our president has created such a surplus that when this pandemic hit, he was able to refund Americans without indebting us.
I'm fighting for you and I love doing it.
We were able to apply for a PPP loan, which allow us to continue hiring. He actually understands the need for small businesses like my sisters to survive.
I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Team Trump Online. I'm Lara Trump, Senior Advisor to President Trump's re-election campaign. We have got a great show for you tonight. Congressional candidate Kim Klacik is here to talk about the generational urban shame of the Democrats. Then we're going to hear from former Ohio Secretary of State Ken Blackwell on how the left is, newsflash, attempting to steal the election. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Kim, we are so excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, you broke the internet over the summer. You put out a campaign ad that racked up millions of views. Everybody saw it. The president saw it, loved it, went crazy. And it pointed out the urban shame of the Democrat Party. Let's remind folks at home.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the U.S. average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a Black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where Black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait.
All right, Kim, I mean, what an incredible ad this was. Tell us more about the failures of your Democrat-run city of Baltimore and what you think can be done to turn it around.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the ad, we've had Democrat rule for 53 years now. And when you have that one-party mob rule, unfortunately, corruption's able to flourish. And that's what happened here in Baltimore. Just in 2018, President Trump sent $15.7 billion to the Baltimore region. But as you see in those videos, we have no idea where that money went. Our member of Congress went and leveraged the urban struggle, as they always do, to request the funding. But the funding never hits the ground. We have 17,000 vacant homes. Out of 39 high schools, we have 13 of them where kids graduate not proficient in math.
Wow.
We have the third highest spending per pupil in the country, yet we're getting no results as far as education. So since the 2015 riots, we've had over 300 murders each year. And this is just a population of 600,000 people. So as I mentioned in the ad, our murder rate is 10 times the national average. So we have to get a handle on that. But thank goodness President Trump has been taking it on, talking about the opportunity zones and just things that we need, school choice for sure. So I'm just hoping, once President Trump is reelected, I'll also be on Capitol Hill and we can push a better agenda, get a better quality of life in Baltimore.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It really is. We want this for every single American, and Baltimore is no different. Now, I want to talk to you about something else. We recently heard Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and even Michelle Obama refer to the rioting, looting, and total lawlessness across our great American cities as peaceful protests, Kim. What would a Biden, I mean, it's so laughable, it's ridiculous. Like, we can't see this for ourselves, but what would a Biden presidency mean for law and order, especially in inner cities?
It would be absolutely tragic. I mean, you know, I love that Michelle Obama can make these comments from the comfort of her mansion in Martha's Vineyard. But for some of us that live here, you know, in the city, we understand exactly what this means to us. You know, the businesses being looted, minority-owned businesses. You know, this is devastating the communities. You know, like I said, in 2015, we had the riots, and we have not been able to rebuild. It's 2020. You know, if Joe Biden gets in and Kamala Harris, we could see this happening across the country. As you know, it took them 3 months to even acknowledge what was going on in Kenosha. Finally, you know, President Trump was able to send in the National Guard and get a hold of it. But I can't imagine how this would devastate our country if this happened in every major city.
Yeah, it's rather frightening. It's another reason, yet another reason, quite frankly, we need 4 more years of President Donald Trump. Now, you attended, Kim, the president's Black Economic Empowerment event last month, the unveiling of the Platinum Plan. The Democrats, Kim, do not like this at all. They are freaking out. So tell our viewers how President Trump has championed Black Americans since taking office.
Absolutely. So many of us, especially in the Black community, we thought President Obama was going to take on criminal justice reform. He did not. It was President Trump. You know, he's taken on prison reform. He's taken on the First Step Act. As far as HBCU funding, he has made it so that those HBCUs don't have to come back every year requesting more money, so they can actually put a budget together and really do what they need to do at these universities. But with that Platinum Plan, he talks about investing $500 billion into inner cities that Democrats left neglected, and they know they have. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to work with him on it. It was an honor to be there at the unveiling in Atlanta. And, you know, for people to say that he doesn't care about the Black community, you can say that all you want, but his actions speak other words.
That's right. I mean, you got to look at the results, and that is what this is all about. So really quick, any final thoughts? We are in the very, very home stretch now. Final minutes to the end of this game, till the election. For people that are thinking about staying home, Kim, and not going out to vote, what do you say?
I say, please go out to vote. You know, we see a lot of mail-in fraud happening across the country with these ballots. Please do go out and vote. You can wear your mask. You can still stay safe. But we want this election to show real results. We don't want any fraud to happen. So please get involved. Again, President Trump, we need him for 4 more years. I can't imagine this country going in the opposite direction. So please go out there and vote. You can look at my race if you want at KimKforCongress.com. Thanks to the Trump family. Lara, I have to say thanks to you guys. We raised $6.4 million this quarter because you and your family and shared our campaign out across the country. So
amazing, amazing. Well, listen, thank you so much, Kim, for being with us. Good luck to you, folks. Not only do you need to go out and support Donald Trump at the polls, go out and support Kim. She's amazing. We need you right there fighting alongside of him. Kim, thank you so much. Everybody, stay where you are. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but stay with us because Ken Blackwell is coming up next.
Tonight's debate is between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
By a guy who's a decent guy, our vice president.
Has anyone seen Vice President Biden?
The southern end of our ranch is the international boundary, and I have over 200 trails from Mexico. It's drug packers.
We don't need a wall. It's about providing a clear roadmap to citizenship for 11 million undocumented aliens.
Yes, we will build the wall. We've already started.
Someday we will have a form of security like everybody else.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to Team Trump Online, and with me now, we are so excited to have Ken Blackwell. He has so many titles, but he was the former Ohio Secretary of State. Welcome back to the show. Ken, great to get you back.
Laura, good to be with you.
All right, let's get right into it. It seems like every day we hear another story about ballots ending up where they shouldn't, in the trunk of someone's car, in the trash. We even saw, Ken, ballots left on the side of the road in Colorado. What is going on here?
Let me just frame this by saying that for 50 years, I've been engaged in the election process, and I've tried to protect voter rights from two different angles. One has been making sure that voters have access to the polls without obstruction. Secondly, I protected the integrity of the ballot box to make sure that no illegal vote cancels out a vote that has been legally cast. And that's what we're focused on here. There is ample evidence that there is a lot of mischief going on that can destroy the integrity of the ballot box. And it's very clear that this is aggressively being pushed by the left against the president.
Yeah, and the president has been calling this out. We have been warning for months about this, but this is really a big problem. The Democrats' push to have everyone vote by mail. We're now seeing, the results of that. In some cases, ballots are delivered to people. They're getting 6, 7 ballots. Eric, my husband, I just heard earlier today talk about somebody who received 12 ballots in the mail. Dead people are being sent ballots. Or my favorite, Cody Timms, a cat who had been dead for 12 years, believe it or not, received a voter registration application in the mail. So, Ken, what do we do about this? This is a real problem when we're talking about ensuring the integrity of our election process.
Well, we have to be vigilant. Let me just tell you, Laura, there are two things that I think we have to be very attentive to. First is the chain of custody. We need to make sure that there is a reduced number of people that touch your ballot once it's cast. And this universal mail-in voting destroys the chain of custody. We have to resist it every day, every minute of every day until this election is over. The second is verification. We have to make sure that people are who they say that they are. And so if you want to get a common man and woman's perspective on it, ask them this simple question. In your daily life, how many times do you have to, in some way, show an ID card to show that you are who you claim to be? And what you will find, no matter what the age, no matter what state they live in, that's a very common occurrence in everyday life. Whether it's someone who wants to buy alcohol or cigarettes, someone who wants to get on an airplane, or someone who wants to take out a library book. The reality is, why would anybody exercising common sense be against voter ID unless they want to be up to some mischief and make some moves where dead people are voting, or the chain of custody has been disrupted and the voter who is casting the ballot isn't who they claim to be. So that's one. And so verification and chain of custody are issues that we have to press, and we have to. And look, elections can be decided in what I framed in 2004 within the margin of litigation. I hope that we blow this thing out and we don't have to have litigation. But if, in fact, we find in some of these battleground states that there are margins of litigation that our final total is within, what's going to happen is that they're going to try to make sure that the courts decide as opposed to the people. And that's a destruction and an erosion of the essence of our electoral system in the United States. We are in fact, crafters of our destiny through the ballot box, and, not some unelected judges. But if it comes down to that, we have to make sure that our battery of lawyers are are willing and able to press our case.
That's exactly right. But I like what you said there, Ken. We have to win on November 3rd by such a huge margin of victory that we don't have to see this go to a court. The American people need to send a very clear message around the world that the people are still in charge of our country. It is so, so important. Now, I want to switch gears really quickly. It was recently revealed that the Facebook billionaire, Mark Zuckerberg, has been funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into a left-wing so-called nonprofit organization encouraging turnout in Democrat stronghold of swing states. You're a former Secretary of State, Ken, so tell our viewers why it is so dangerous to have private money funding election operations and boosting Democrat turnout only to influence the outcome of the election, and what can be done to stop this?
One of the things that they do when they do that is that they take the referee out of the game, and they, in fact, with private dollars, is termed dark money, because there's a lack of transparency. They are trying to manipulate an election, and that's wrong. But let me tell you, that isn't the only tool in their toolbox. These folks who run these major social media platforms, through censorship and through actually snuffing out the messages from conservatives and the president, they have taken off their referee shirt and they put on a jersey, and that's unfair, and that has to be called out, and the feds have to stop it. They have to stop it before November 3rd.
That's exactly right. I think it's been very frightening for all Americans to see what looks like something you would find in a communist country. It looks like something that would be on state-run media. Absolutely terrifying that this sort of thing, the censorship, is happening in the United States of America. I mean, to me, very clear election interference at the least. So, Ken, we have seen the censorship. We know what's going on out there with big tech, with the social media companies. They tried to censor this New York Post story that really, by all accounts, was a bombshell. And it alleges that what Joe Biden has said all along, that he had no idea about his son Hunter's dealings overseas, that in fact does not seem to be true if you see the emails exchanged. What was your take on all that we learned from that New York Post story?
That was a bombshell revelation. And it was very clear that the Biden camp and the mainstream media didn't want the American people to be informed voters. That's what I'm talking about when I say that we must, in fact, demand that the referee takes off the Biden jersey.
It's so important. And I got to tell you, Ken, I wish the same kindness had been extended to our family. You have Twitter coming out and saying, well, we didn't want to publish something and we didn't want it spreading out there because we couldn't verify everything, because there might have been some errors in reporting. Are you kidding me? The number is in the thousands, if not the tens of thousands, of fake news stories that I've had written about me, my husband Eric, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, the president for sure. I mean, think about the double standard that exists here. It is so glaring. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, Ken, but it's all the more reason that Americans, even if you're not putting a yard sign in front of your house, if you don't have a Trump bumper sticker on your car, you don't want to wear the MAGA hat, you get out and you vote on election day and you vote for Donald Trump, because we need to send a clear message that this is not acceptable in the United States of America. Final thoughts, Ken, as we head towards Election Day, the most consequential election in modern American history. What do you want people to think about as we head towards November 3rd?
Your vote is your voice. Make sure that you execute it. The abolitionist Frederick Douglass once said, "He who is whooped easiest is whooped most often." We cannot sit on the sidelines and be whooped. We, in fact, must engage and be the architects of our destiny. There is a contest now between two worldviews. You have the knuckleheads of the 1619 Project who believe that America is irreparably racist and must be destroyed by any means, versus those of us who embrace the promise of 1776, and we understand why America has become the most robust economic power, the most diverse constitutional republic in all of human history. And this president has kept us on that course and expanded and accelerated the speed by which we in fact rush back to the most dominant place in human history.
Amen. You can't say it better than that. Get out and vote, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Blackwell, thank you so much for being with us. I want to say thank you to both of our guests, Ken and Kim Klacik, for joining us tonight on Team Trump Online. As always, we appreciate you at home tuning in. We will see you right back here next time.
The media attention around school shootings, you could say, really picked up around Columbine, which is 1999, it was over 20 years ago now. But in 2012, it wasn't really this thing that was just in the back of your mind every day as a student. I really had no fear. It never really occurred to me that something like that was even possible. Like, I don't know if that's just my innocent 12-year-old mind or just not wanting that thought to even enter your head. But it sure is now in America. My name is JT Lewis. I'm from Sandy Hook, Connecticut, and I'm a school safety advocate. Grew up on a little farm, horses, chickens, goats, the whole nine. And my mom's a single mother who raised me and my brother. I was 6 years older than Jesse, and so we had a very rough and tumble childhood, I guess you could call it. Always riding horses or doing something outside, and that was kind of what we did together. December 14th, 2012, it was like any other day. Got on the bus, went to school, and then the whole school was put on lockdown. No one was telling us anything. The teachers didn't know. No one really knew. And we were huddled in the back of the classroom, the lights off, everyone kind of under desks. Little by little, we were getting more and more information, kind of piecing together that there'd been a shooting at the Sandy Hook Elementary School. After that, a grandparent picked me up, took me to the firehouse, and that was where the reunification process was happening. When we saw that site, the chaos at the firehouse, you know, you had SWAT, National Guard, police, paramedics, helicopters swarming above. Chaos, in a word, and that's when it kind of sunk in, like, oh, this is for sure something real, something bad happened here. Hours went by, and then you realize something is definitely wrong, and you're seeing these looks from first responders, and they look over at you, and they know, and you don't, and they're not allowed to tell you. And a priest came over to us and just kind of sat down with my mom and was like, yeah, your son's dead. Very blunt. And then someone ran over, I think a police officer, and said, he wasn't supposed to tell you that. Yeah, it was chaos. I mean, it was chaos for everyone. And then I think finally someone came back over and said, no, it's confirmed. I don't think I heard it. I think I saw him go and talk to my mom, and then her reaction was just panic and not good. And it was, yeah, he would, yeah. I don't know. You know, obviously, it was the worst day in the history of our family. We went to Florida a couple weeks after, try to get away, just me and my mom. And we landed, got on the highway, and we looked up, and there was a message in the sky, a skywriter. We watched them writing it, and it said, Jesse plus Jesus together forever. I mean, again, I was only 12, but I don't think I was a believer in miracles or any of this greater stuff, but now I definitely am. That day, December 14th, 2012, there was no guard at Sandy Hook Elementary School. The shooter, parked his car, walked up, shot out the glass front doors, and then killed kids. And it was that easy. When the shooter entered Jesse's classroom, he fired a few rounds and the gun jammed. And in that interval, Jesse yelled for his classmates to run. They say he stayed back with his teacher and he was killed. a feat of heroism that the world really has never seen. And so we take that powerful story and we try to share that with as many people as possible to say, hey, if this 6-year-old kid could be that courageous, staring down a shooter, I mean, we can take that same courage and display it in our lives every day. 20 kids and 6 educators lost their lives because there was no one there to protect them. Following that shooting, the whole nation was looking for a solution to stop these school shootings. We need to drop this whole gun control argument because it's not going anywhere, and it hasn't in the last 20 years. And we've lost so many lives because we've wasted our time on it. So I wanted to start focusing on other avenues. An amazing moment, I think, was the summer of 2018. I was able to go and present my thoughts on school safety to the president and Secretary DeVos. And my point was we need to start with the mental health and the hardening the schools. School safety measures such as armed guards and stuff like that. Basically hardening schools is what it's called. And couple those, you're not gonna see this anymore. And that was included in the federal school safety report with guidelines, over 100, on how to keep their schools safe. And we were able to present that to the public and put a copy on the desk of every governor in the country sent by President Trump. That was showing the country how it's done, how keeping schools safe is done. Unfortunately, because the report came from President Trump, I'm sure it was thrown into the trash cans of a lot of governors' offices across the country. And you wouldn't even know it happened because nothing changed. But the people that took that report and moved forward with it, the governors, their schools are much safer across the country. In Newtown, our schools are some of the safest in the country, you could say the world. I mean, we have teams of security that go across the school, and it's unfortunate that it took the shooting to teach us that lesson, that that's what you need in 2020 is you need security at schools. They need to be hardened. It's not too late for the rest of the country, and that's why I've been advocating for this. The defund the police movement really terrifies me and should terrify every American. I can tell you that 1214 taught us how valuable, important the police were. If, we didn't have police in Sandy Hook, the killer would have been on a longer rampage. But yeah, I didn't really grow up around guns. As a kid, I'd never really been exposed to them, but it's our Second Amendment right. It's the right, the amendment that upholds the rest of the amendments. It's such a crucial right, and you go around the country and you talk to people, and it's a big part of their lives, and it's not something you're gonna go knocking on the doors in Texas and taking that right away. What we need to do is find ways to keep our schools safe without infringing on our rights. I can tell you right now that there's only one candidate that is currently and will continue to fight for school safety, and that's President Trump. That's a message we need to get out there before November. No one should ever have to go through what we went through, and President Trump, and I've watched him do it, is fighting to make sure it doesn't happen again.
For years, Biden tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. You know all about that. Now Biden is pledging mass amnesty and federal health care for illegal aliens. Now, we all have a heart, and we all want to take care of people. But what you're doing is you're telling millions of people to pour up into our country. We're going to give you education. We're going to give you health care. We're going to give you everything. We can't do it. We can't afford it. We can't take care of our own people. We have to take care of our people first.